Once again, friends, welcome. As we proceed with this session, okay, so we're going to look at how or what arrangement to consider when accepting appointments as auditors. Sometimes you may not be the first auditor for the client. You may be coming in to replace somebody. What do I do? What do I do? Should I proceed with the appointment or should I turn it down? Okay, so there is always something we need to look at. So that's the next session. So I'm going to share my slide once again, and this looks quite straightforward. So we're going to be fast on this one. All right, accepting appointment as auditors. So importance of screening the client. You need to always screen your client, okay? When you accept the engagement. Remember, we mentioned ISA 315, okay? Understanding your clients, its environment in which the client operates, and then the risk of any misstatement that its activities could have, any risk of material misstatement, okay? So you must understand your entity and its environment so that you can identify and assess any risk of material misstatement. ISA 315. If for nothing at all, that ISA, you must always remember it. It's quite important to keep it. If you don't understand the client, what are you going to do? You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. So we'll look at client screening towards the end of these slides. Preconditions for audit acceptance, we'll look at that one as well. And then process of accepting an engagement. We'll look at the engagement letter, its content, what does it spell out? We've considered ethical considerations, but we'll look at it again briefly, and then we'll explain what it means by professional etiquette in the context of client acceptance. From the word etiquette, professional etiquette, I'm going to take over from somebody who was auditing the client. It is quite nice, courteous, for me to write a letter to this guy who is no longer the auditor and ask him, friend, why did you resign? Anything you think I should consider? Should I accept the engagement or not? Okay. So that's the nicest thing you should do. So like I said, auditors may have fallen out with the client, some disagreement over some adjustments or some significant issues. Sometimes auditors may have been rotated ordinarily in the course of the work or the profession. Or auditors may be told the client has been bought out. So you are no longer our auditors. I remember KPMG Ghana had a very big client. I'll not mention the name, but it was bought by another company. There was a merger and acquisition by a South African company. And they already had PwC as their auditor. So KPMG lost that big client. Again, auditors may be too small. The company may be too big, so we want to leave these smaller, medium-sized audit firms and go for the big guys. There could also be some personality clash. Remember, we are humans. The senior management of the clients could clash with our partners, with our managers, with our audit leads. Again, auditors could realize that the client is no longer suitable or trustworthy. There's so much risk with them, so we want to leave it. Okay. This thing usually doesn't happen, but if sometimes, rarely, it can happen. Okay, when the auditor is aggrieved, he can write to the shareholders to speak at the AGM and tell them his peace of mind. Okay, rarely, but it does. Key issues for incoming auditor or accountant: find out about your client, their management, the business that they are doing, their financial reporting framework. Okay, find out, screen them. Do some research, okay? Where would you get information about your clients? Okay, look at the previously published accounts. Go to their company website. You can see some literature, some brochures. Okay, go to the magazines, the business magazines or the particular industry in which they operate. There could be some magazines or some press releases, articles, bulletins about them. Local knowledge, the community in which they operate. Local knowledge, go ask them. Go to the council, talk to them. Do you know about this particular organization? Okay. And then discussion with the client itself. Sit with them, engage with them, understand them, any information you want to know. Okay. engage with the management. Okay, so you need to do some deep research about the client, find out about your clients. Like I said, send a professional etiquette letter to the outgoing auditor and ask him the reasons why you think you can accept or you cannot accept. And he will tell you. It's a professional work that we all have to do. Make sure there's no conflict of interest. Abide by all the code of conduct, okay, the ethics, okay. Now, any outgoing auditor has the right to retain any of the client's books and papers against any unpaid fees which the client is owing the outgoing auditor. So you should always has the lien, okay. ISA 210 spells out the terms of the audit engagement, okay. Now, if a potential client will limit the scope of our work to the extent that we think a scope limitation will result in a disclaimer of opinion, then we shouldn't accept the engagement, unless we are required by law for us to undertake that engagement. Technically, it doesn't make sense for a client to bring you on board and tie your hands behind you, not allowing you to work. And then at the end of the day, it will cause me to disclaim my opinion. The client himself wouldn't find any reason. Why would I bring you on board for you to just disclaim an opinion? I still pay you, okay? But really, in reality, you don't do that. You don't call me on and tie my hands. I will leave the engagement. I will not even take it up unless the law requires me to do it for some public interest. Now, consider whether your acceptance will create any threats to your compliance with it will violate any of the fundamental ethical principles. If it does, don't proceed with the engagement. All right. Engagement letter is ISA 210, which spells out the terms of the engagement. What is normally enshrined within the engagement letter. So the scope of the work will be spelled out. The objective of the audit will be spelled out. Okay. What is required of me as an auditor will be spelled out. What is required of the management, their responsibilities will be spelled out. Under what financial reporting framework does the client prepare the accounts? IFRS, IAS, country-specific gaps, it will be clearly spelled out. This will at least provide you with the platform or the ground, the basis upon which you conduct your audit, okay? Identify, okay, I've said that one. Look out for reference to the expected form or content of any report you will issue. Are you just going to issue a financial statement or an integrated statement? Okay, would you be asked to review strategic reports? Everything will be stated there. And if you remember the Royal Bank of Scotland versus the Bannerman case, okay, 2002, Scottish courts situation that we cited. Now, if you want to clearly plug in a disclaimer paragraph, you must clearly state that, but of course, you give it only to the shareholders, a disclaimer statement. Normally, most audit firms will do that because we want to indemnify ourselves against any future occurrences, mishaps, okay? So agree the engagement letter with the client before you start any work. We should sign it. It should be minuted in the board minutes, okay, before you proceed. Still on the terms of engagement, what if I am auditing HSBC Group? Okay, and HSBC Group has subsidiaries. Would I have to issue one engagement letter to the entire HSBC Group? Or I need to also issue separate engagement letters to the component parts, the subsidiaries? If you have to issue to separate, you can do it. But of course, they will all be adapting from the main letter. But usually you issue one engagement letter to cover everything. But in the one engagement letter, you must clearly spell out the subsidiaries of the HSBC Group whom you are going to audit. Okay, don't leave it blank or hanging. Okay, you send one letter for the whole group, clearly spell out which components of the group you are going to be auditing. Okay. Relationship with outgoing auditors should be perfect, should be a good one, okay? And that's why you see the auditors always speaking the same language. They are friends, they are brothers, okay? So before you accept the assignment, you must seek the permission of the client that I want to write to the outgoing auditor and seek any professional reason why I should not accept the appointment. If the client tells you no, don't contact the outgoing auditor, then don't go for the audit assignment. Don't take it up. Okay, so I'm going to audit HSBC. HSBC used to be audited by PwC. I'm with KPMG. I tell HSBC I want to write to PwC to see if there's any professional reason why I shouldn't accept. And then they tell you, no, you don't contact PwC. Immediately, it should tell me there's something not too good. I don't have to accept it. Okay. The outgoing auditors must indicate any professional problems with the client, any disputes on paid fees, any disagreements on significant matters, okay, any fallout. They will tell you. They will tell you, okay? It's not like they are sabotaging the clients, but they will tell you the reality on the ground, okay? KYC, like I said, screen your clients, understand them, know them better. Look out for the sources of information where you can get some good knowledge about your clients. What do they do? What industry are they in? What is their reputation within that specific sector or industry? What structure, organogram do they have? What can each last financial statement, audited financial statement, tell you about the nature of business and operations and their finances? Okay. The previous auditors, did they have any problems with the client? What was the detail of those problems? Okay. Why do they want to change the auditors? Is it because of mandatory rotation or a fallout? Okay. Or was it anything, disagreement on some significant matters? You must know all of this because it helps you to plan your audit carefully. Again, additional factors you should consider. What are the risks attached to the business? Is it in a distressed sector? Do they have some financial operations overseas or operations outside the current jurisdiction where you find their headquarters? Okay. Are they also operating in some unusual business like manufacturing of nuclear weapons or ammunitions? Okay. Look out for those ones. Okay. Understand these ones as well. What is the size of the clients? Is it too big or too small? Do we have the manpower, the resources, the technical know-how to actually undertake this audit? Any special reporting requirements, any potential conflicts of interest which may arise, flag it out. Okay, understand all of this. It is important as an auditor for us to prepare a risk assessment, okay, of the client before we go on to take up the assignment. So these risk assessments should consider any risk of fraudulent activities being perpetrated by management, whether, like I said, they are in a distressed economic sector, so they want to do anything at all to survive. They are just on the bridge of brink of collapsing, so they want to do everything to survive. What is their previous audit history? Good, bad, qualified opinion, unqualified, clean sheet, or questionable reports? Okay. What about the management? Technical know-how? Do you think they are up to speed? Do they understand what they are doing? Do they circumvent or limit you from working? What is their history with them? Okay. Understand what you are going to do, what they are expected to do, and what is expected of the entire project, so that nobody limits you when you are working. The scope for which you've been contracted, you go and perform your work justifiably. The books and documents, like I said, the working papers belong to the auditor. The auditor has the right to withhold any books, any reports that pertains to the auditor, that pertains to the client, if the client is owing the auditor. Okay, so like I said, audit records belongs to the auditor. Outgoing auditor should ideally provide the incoming auditor with reasonable crossover information. It's more like a handing over notes, okay? But of course, with the permission of the client. You don't do this at the blind side of the auditor, of the client. So the third party should know, the incoming, the outgoing, the client should know that this is what is going to happen. But like I said, they can have a lien, right of lien, or withhold the right to withhold this for unpaid fees over any books, any client books in their possession. For the working papers, the client cannot access it. It is ours. We design it. Okay, you can have it. Disclosure of content may be required by state or the court. Otherwise, the client has to give permission. You cannot just go and disclose voluntarily and publish it in the public domain. No, you can't do that unless the client has permitted you. Unless the state, the law courts requires it for the interest of the state or the public at large, then you can publish it without the consent of the client. Personnel. Once we've accepted the client, we must put in place appropriate recruitment procedures to get the right mix of staff who go and work on the client's account. Okay, where our client is in a particular sector, we should train our staff to understand the client. We should get people who are fit for purpose, who can go and do a clean job so that we can avoid any auditor liabilities. Supervise their work, review their work, okay? Give them some audit briefings before we start the work, before we go for the kickoff meeting with the client. Let me give you a story. So I work with USAID, and we contracted some audit firm. We send the tenders out. So people bid. I mean, the big guys, they bid. I don't want to mention names. Then one of them won the bid. Good job. In fact, if you look at the proposal, the mix of staff they want to put on the job was excellent. Their profile, their CV, their background, we did the background check. They were the best. When the field work started, I was tasked to be with them on the field for 5 weeks. 5 weeks on the field. And I realized that because I was on the screening committee, I was actually the one who did the reference checks for all these guys, okay, these bidders and the people they put on their tender document. Unfortunately for them, when I went to the field with them, because I knew everything from the scratch, they brought in different mix of staff, people who know nothing about what was going to be done. And I reported it to the senior colleagues at USAID, and they had to caution them. They have to actually ask them to pull out the inexperienced guys and bring on board experienced guys as per what they have stated in their proposal. So when, as auditors, we bid, we win the bid, we say we are going to send XY expertise. We need to use XY expertise for the sake of our credibility. Okay, don't propose A and go provide them with B. It's not best. Okay, let's wrap up. So quality of performance, like I said, the engagement team, the audit team, let them know of areas of risk where they should assess. Give them some good briefing, okay, of the client. Also consider processes for complying with standards, any documentations, review of working papers. Whilst on the job, you need to go on the job. In KPMG, I remember my audit partner would always come and sit with us. And so you can imagine your audit partner is sitting there vouching. What would you do? You need to do more. Okay, and sometimes we are just waiting for her to go. If she doesn't go, we cannot go. Or you see your audit partner sitting down even up to 8 p.m. and you have been there since morning. Can you leave when your audit partner is still sitting? You cannot do that. So quality control sometimes you have to work extra hard beyond the closing time just to get the work done right fully. Okay. Consult within the engagement team. If you don't understand something, please ask somebody. I've always said it. You are not a hero. You are not a god. You don't know everything. So anything that is tackling, that is troubling you, and tell your friends, discuss with your friends, okay? Supervision at all levels, at any level, okay? The associates will be supervised, the team leaders will be supervised, audit managers will be supervised until the final sign-off. Notification and review of judgment decisions which have been held. Conduct some deep reviews, hot reviews, cold reviews, okay? And ensures that procedures and policies which are being applied are current, they are not out of scope, they are not outdated. All right, friends, when you look at page 106, there's this simple case study, Juliet B. Try look at it, okay? Again, if you look at pages 106 to 107, there's a typical ACCA question worth reviewing. I love that case, and it's quite practical. You should look at it, okay? And of course, as usual, I will request you to look at the student self-testing questions where you can get answers in the core text. All right. So that is it for now, okay? I will always say, listen, friends, review the document, review the book, okay? I love this book so much. Let me tell you the reason why. I love this book so much because it is quite good and detailed. If you go to page, just a second, to the acknowledgement page. If you go to the acknowledgement page, that is, it doesn't have a page, but it is page XVII, acknowledgements. The acknowledgements page, okay? You will see there are reviewers, okay? Particular thanks are due to those reviewers who give their thoughtful comments on the strengths and weaknesses of the previous editions and the proposals for the 12th edition. And you see my name there, okay? My name is there, Richard Tigger, University of Strathclyde. Yes, I'm there. Okay, so I was one of the key reviewers, and I reviewed everything from cover to cover and gave proposals for the next edition. So immediately it was published, they sent me one. I've highlighted my name, proud reviewer. Review the book. It's a good book. All right, friends, for now, I'll leave you and I'll see you when I see you. Audit is sweet. Audit is sweet. Please, let it be sweet to you as well. Bye for now.